There's a face upon a billboard in a field outside our window, near a highway that we travel to our work, to our home. There's an image and description, there are facts and there are figures, and an underlying longing of a father for his child. Whoever you are, whatever you've done, whatever the reason, come forward, please come.
Hello, listeners. We're Shedding Light, and I'm Candy.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Susie.
And we're hell-bent on shedding light on unsolved missing persons cases across Canada,
in an attempt to find the missing piece of the puzzle.
What you are about to listen to is the culmination of countless hours of research in an attempt to gather as many facts as possible about the case by reading news articles, online blogs and forums, and by interviewing friends, family, and people involved in the case. We will discuss different theories and possibilities and pick them apart in order to evaluate their likelihood, or better yet, eliminate them. We weren't there. We don't claim to know what happened. We can only try to paint a picture using the resources that we do have. We don't claim anything to be fact that isn't. We don't claim our interviewees' words to be fact. It's their memory. It's their recollection. It's their truth, and it's their opinion. And everybody's entitled to one. That does not mean we necessarily share any of these opinions. And listeners, please remember, everyone, including the suspects, is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Please bear that in mind as we welcome you
to Season 5, Episode 5, Little Angels.
Just a heads up that there is some foul language and adult content in here. Listener discretion is advised.
Produced in partnership with Please Bring Me Home and sponsored by Bruce Power. Ontario's long-term energy plan is counting on Bruce Power to provide a reliable and carbon-free source of affordable energy through to 2064. To do so, Bruce Power has signed a long-term agreement with the province to refurbish 6 of its 8 units, investing $13 billion private dollars into these publicly owned assets. Bruce Power's Life Extension program will create and sustain 22,000 jobs annually while injecting $4 billion into Ontario's economy each year.
Welcome back, listeners. If you are just tuning in for the first time, we would suggest familiarizing yourself with the case of Lisa Reimer Mays by listening to episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 of this season. And for those of you that have been following Lisa's story, we want to focus this episode on the impact Lisa's disappearance has had on her family, friends, and the community.
Not only has Lisa's disappearance been the catalyst for the formation of the organization Please Bring Me Home, it has been the inspiration behind the song you heard at the beginning of this episode, entitled Face on a Billboard, composed and performed by local music artist Larry Jensen. We are very grateful to Larry for allowing us to utilize this beautiful piece, paying tribute to Lisa. We'll include the YouTube link to this in the show notes. Let's recap Lisa's story in brief. She was 22 years old and 5 months pregnant. Lisa had just broken off a rocky short-term relationship with her boyfriend and father of her unborn baby. She sought refuge at her parents' home, June and Ken Reimer, and took a short nap, then took the rest of the day to enjoy nearby Sauble Beach with a friend while her parents were at a wedding. After returning from Sauble Beach, she then joined a friend and her 2 sisters for an evening of fun. starting at one sister's house, then onto a downtown Owen Sound bar with two of the sisters, then onto a pig roast party in Woodford with one sister and a male companion, which we refer to as Gary. According to Gary only, Lisa left her car at his place in Annan, and he drove the three of them to the pig roast. After departing the party alone with just Gary, again, this is according to Gary, he drove her back to his house and she got in her car, and at approximately 4:30 a.m., she drove away back towards her parents' place. This was the morning of July the 17th, 1988. Lisa was never seen again. 2 days later, her green 1976 Plymouth Fury was found on an impassable bush lane in the opposite direction from which Gary claimed she went. The car was hidden from view on a side road about 1 kilometer northeast of Annan. And when we say side road, this is like a farm path, like a tractor path. The car had been stuck in the mud, and there were indications that attempts were made to dislodge the car. The trunk and doors were open. One window was partially down, and the car's contents strewn about on the ground. Numerous tips and searches have been conducted by the Ontario Provincial Police over the years, with the last public search being in 2011. And in 2016, Please Bring Me Home propelled Lisa's case forward with their relentless efforts to find her. To date, they continue to look for Lisa.
In episode 3 of this season, we heard from a member of the group of 4 friends that first found Lisa's car the day after she went missing. If you recall, he shared his recollection of the events leading up to the discovery. This gentleman also volunteered for 4 or 5 days in the crevice search in the summer of 2021 and gave a decent lead to Matt and Nick to follow up on.
Can I just say one thing about Nick, if you can?
Sure.
Are you still taping?
Yeah.
Okay. So when Nick first started this Please Bring Me Home, or when he first started the Lisa Moss case, I reached out to him right away because I wanted to know more and to help him to find Lisa. So I reached out to Nick right away, and then we had quite a long talk on the phone, and I gave him some pointers of people, like the first thing Sunday morning, a local farmer was going golfing and he saw somebody running out of the bush, right? So, that was a rumor that I heard that I passed on to Nick, and I knew who the farmer was. So Nick, of course, interviewed him, but it's a long haul for both Nick and Matt, and boy, are they ever doing a great job. They're trying, we're trying, and, someday.
It's community members like this that help keep Lisa's case active. He continues to assist Nick and Matt on digs and searches.
And I enjoy this kind of stuff, like helping them out, and Matt, I think tomorrow night I'm going down to Annan, down to farm where he lived, and we're digging again, right? Or throwing the mud back in where they were digging, right?
Oh, you're going to be helping.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was there not last week, but the week before. I had to work, but I hurried up after work and got my my shit boots on and went down to Annan and helped them. Just wasn't long. It was about an hour when I was down there. But of course, Nick and Matt had worked all day there.
Yeah.
But Matt was still there. Nick had already left. But yeah, I got down in the hole and started doing what I could do, but it was hard digging.
No doubt. So you've met the Hanna brothers too, then, haven't you?
Oh, great! Are they ever great guys? Both of them.
Yeah.
I went on the search for Lois back 2 summers ago when they had all the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So I was there then.
It goes to show you what an impact this has had on his life. He is still wanting to help after all these years, and it's amazing how the communities and families of the missing assist and support one another as they know all too well the pain and suffering of not knowing where your loved one is.
We spoke with Tracy in episodes 1 and 2. She was a woman who had been at the pig roast the night Lisa disappeared. She also went on to experience the utter torture of not knowing where her son Emerson was for 4 excruciating days in May of 2020 before he was found murdered.
It'd just be a blessing to have her come home, that her dad can know where the hell she is. It's absolutely the darkest dark you could imagine. And if they're not sleeping because they got information, well, guess what? Neither are the people that are loving her until she is brought home. So, what the hell are people doing? That's what I don't get. As bad as it is, just knowing that they're home is a very big part of the healing process. And their loved ones deserve that, and they deserve that too. You know, somebody knows, somebody's told somebody, so just fess up. You know, it's the best thing you could do, no matter what part they play. Just let her come home, right? And I pray Lisa is brought home. You know, somebody's got to reach in their soul. Because it's the worst thing not knowing where your baby is. And, you know, her mom didn't get to know. She knows now. But her daddy needs to know. I had 4 days of it, and it was torture. And so I can't believe that anybody would allow people to be tortured like this, because it is. It's torture. That's what it is. And no, he can't do this to their families any longer. You gotta just find it in yourselves to give them that peace.
It is so heartbreaking to hear the anguish in her voice, and also heartwarming to know how badly she wants Lisa to be found. You know, the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community of caring individuals to find a missing loved one. We all have to work together, put our heads together, assist in any way we can, even if it's simply sharing Lisa's story or encouraging others to share. We have to keep her story alive, people. We can never forget Lisa. Never.
Thank you. Thank you for what you are doing, you ladies. I can't wait to meet you someday and give you a big hug, because you're doing really good for us, and I can't thank you enough.
Of course, we are huge fans of Please Bring Me Home and agree wholeheartedly with their stance that after 34 years, police have had their chance to solve Lisa's case. And according to Nick Oldreeve, at this point, it is not one person or organization's business. It's everybody's concern now. On October 4th, 2019, W5 aired a story highlighting Nick and Matt's efforts entitled Cold Case Hunters. Avery Haynes interviewed the guys who were not afraid to state their opinion. She also interviewed Detective Inspector Scott Moore of the Ontario Provincial Police, who was concerned that they didn't have the training experience, nor did they follow rules of law, which could lead to impeding an open and active police investigation. Avery reports Detective Inspector Scott Moore has been on the receiving end of dozens of tips from Matt and Nick over the years, and although he values their determination, he fears they are close to crossing a line. Matt and Nick feel they are simply acting as public servants. We love and appreciate them. If it weren't for their drive and determination, many of these cold cases would remain inactive. Keep up the amazing work you do, guys.
Absolutely. We love them for it.
Absolutely.
Lisa's parents always maintained hope that she would one day be found. They spent years searching for her together, right up until her mother June passed away on March 26, 2019, in her 91st year. I sure hope she was a woman of faith and could take comfort in knowing that she would be joining her daughter in the spirit world after all the years of unknowing. Of course, we always...
Take a breath.
We always think of our dear friend Carla and others like Tracy, whose children went missing but were eventually found murdered. It literally hurts when I think about the torture they endured and the daily struggle of trying to live a normal life after such a harrowing experience. Their children stolen and life as they knew it forever changed.
See how this affects you, Susie.
It kills me.
Every time. It's so hard.
Like, I can't.
This is why we do it. This is why we do it.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Meanwhile, 98-year-old Ken Reimer, Lisa's father, continues to hold on to the hope that someone will find his daughter. Maybe not in his lifetime, but one day. It is truly heartbreaking to hear this man recall his daughter's short life and how the last 35 years of his own life have been spent recording every single tip or lead in his daughter's case. A Toronto Star article written by Peter Edwards on August 29th, 2021, covered the upcoming search that Please Bring Me Home was to conduct at the crevice that same month. A few excerpts read, in a telephone interview, Maze's father, Ken Reimer, 96, said that he assumes his daughter is dead and deeply appreciates the efforts of the searchers to recover her body and find her killer.
I'm very pleased it's happening,
he said, adding,
I don't think people should quit on anything. As long as you've got breath in your body, you might as well keep plugging along. You've got to keep moving.
He describes his daughter as
very friendly, very helpful, athletic, very small. She was quite energetic. A friendly person. She felt a little bad about being so small, and I think that gave her that fighting spirit,
Reimer said. In 2010, Lisa's parents marked her disappearance by taking out an ad in their local newspaper, which included 4 photos of Lisa as she was growing up. The ad included the poem entitled Little Angels, which Lisa wrote. It included the lines, no heartbreak compares to the death of one small child who does so much to make our world be wonderful and mild. Lisa's father thinks she would have gone into teaching had she lived. He is putting together a book for his family that will include Lisa's poetry, including Little Angels.
It's constantly on my mind,
her father said.
I have her picture that I look at every day, along with my wife's picture. Those are all part of my life and will remain with me until my passing.
Those are all part of my life and will remain with me until my passing.
So sad. The irony of Lisa's own poetry is indeed haunting. She herself lost a baby that would never have a chance to be born and walk this earth. The monster or monsters that are responsible for this atrocity need to be brought to justice, and Lisa and her baby need to come home. This year, on what would have been Lisa's 56th birthday, Please Bring Me Home made a heartfelt post with a plea for continued support, along with the vow to remain committed to searching for Lisa.
Today, March 16th, 2022, Lisa Mars would have turned 56 years old. Her unborn child will be turning 34 years old later this year. But because of the actions of her so-called friends in the early morning hours of Sunday, July 17th, 1988, Lisa and her unborn child died. So many unfulfilled milestones and lost memories. So much pain and uncertainty about Lisa's whereabouts. Allowing her to die or being involved in her demise is horrible, but to rob her parents of their ability to bury their daughter is beyond comprehension. Over the last 6 years, we have tirelessly searched many locations for Lisa's remains. Properties owned by close friends of the man whom we believe is the prime suspect. The property where Lisa allegedly picked up her car after the Woodford party, along with wells and crevices and other locations. We couldn't have done it alone. We've had the help of a community, companies who've donated their machinery and time, volunteers who've helped remove garbage and dig in dirt in search of Lisa. So much generosity and kindness as someone most volunteers never met. And most importantly, help from tipsters. Tipsters like you who read our posts and wonder, should I tell someone what I know? Is now the right time? Is it safe to do so? The answer to all these questions is yes. We offer a process which protects the tipsters, but still allows us to bring Lisa home. And remember, you're not alone. We've spoken to many people who are afraid to talk, are afraid to reveal their true identity. And it's understandable as a woman and her unborn child are dead, and still missing. But rest assured, we've heard just about every rumor and theory out there. Wells, pigs, dumps, crevices, caves, cement, and on and on. This spring, we have yet another search planned. Like all of our other searches, there is a potential for success and disappointment. Unlike last year, this location will be a closed search. We can't give away too many details to protect those who have already come forward with significant tips. But if you have any information about Lisa's whereabouts, speak up now. You are not alone. Together, we will bring Lisa home.
The search Matt speaks of did take place this past spring 2022, although the location and details of the search have not yet been made public. And Please Bring Me Home conducted yet another search after that, which took place in July of this year. Susie will share the details of that subsequent search.
The area of interest being around Kiefer Falls, and permission was granted by the landowners for the search to be conducted. Hunters in that area marked a spot where they found what they believed to be a shallow grave the year after Lisa went missing. According to Nick, the hunters were going to contact the authorities on the Monday, but it just so happened that at that time they were going to call the police. A story had run that police were searching behind the Woodford house party. So whether they made the call or not, we're not sure. Nick believes, though, that all of this has been shared with police. The hunters, though, did contact Please Bring Me Home just 3 years ago and said that they could find the area again. So Please Bring Me Home again, not knowing whether the information was passed to police and if it had ever been searched, don't want to leave any stone unturned. So they decided to search the area themselves. Human detection dogs were taken through the area, but no evidence of a grave nor human remains was found. Again, a devastating outcome. The roller coaster of emotions must take its toll on this team. Boy, oh boy, who, they vow to never give up searching for Lisa, and they remain steadfast in their commitment and will not let their repeated disappointments taint their efforts. They just don't. They just keep going.
Mm-hmm. It is of particular importance to note again exactly what Lisa was wearing that night. By all accounts, she was wearing a sweatshirt with Mickey Mouse embossed on the front, blue jeans, and white running shoes, and was possibly carrying a small black leather purse. At the time of her disappearance, Lisa may have been wearing a couple of rings as well, and I would assume that these were from her father's jewelry store. They are described as a friendship ring, 10-karat yellow gold. The ring has 2 hands, could be worn with hands clasped together or separated. It was a Claddagh ring and an opal ring, 14-karat yellow gold with a yellow gold shank and a yellow and white gold top set with diamonds and 1 black opal doublet. Precious metals, of course, could withstand 35 years of our environment. These items could possibly still be recovered or may have even been found by unsuspecting individuals who may not know they have an extremely important piece of a 35-year-old mystery. And we'll post these pictures of the rings on our Facebook page.
It's so true, though. Like, how many times have we found, items, and if you're unaware that they're connected to a case or to a missing person, you're not going to run out and call police. So I find it's really important to share that with the public. And I don't think that was really ever mentioned or a lot of attention was brought to it. So I think it's a good idea that we do get that out there.
Well, obviously, they were pieces she owned that weren't accounted for, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Please Bring Me Home feels like Lisa's case is like no other.
That's the difference between Lisa's case and every other case. Yeah, there's very, very little comes in for the other cases. The next case after Lisa's that has the most is probably Lois. But even that is a fraction of what comes in for Lisa. It seems like every time we do a search or we do publicity of some kind, we get new tips in. Yeah, we've dug. So we've certainly dug at more locations in 6 years than police have dug in 30 whatever years. And it's always because of some information that comes in. It's nothing like, let's throw a dot on the map and see. We only search because it someone has sent an anonymous tip or whatever and said you need to look here because of this reason, and then we go and search.
Please Bring Me Home believes there were a number of people present when Lisa died.
That it's more than one person, right? More than one person. If it was one person who kept their mouth shut, we wouldn't be getting in all this information over and over again. New tips. People talking, all these rumors. It's because I believe there were a number of people there when Lisa died. And they've told people who've told people who've told people who've told people. And it's that game, right? It's that game of that phone game where you tell someone something and they tell someone something, and then 30 years later it changes. But there's a bit of truth still there. There's a little bit of truth.
We can certainly relate to what Matt is saying and have often referenced the telephone game with regards to the tips that we ourselves have received on particular cases. In many cases, it appears that more than one person is privy to what has happened to the missing person. Not to say that more than one person was directly responsible, but perhaps there were several witnesses or people close to the perpetrator who were told the truth about what had happened. Eventually, all the tips or stories will somehow converge and the dots will connect and the missing will be brought home.
This is far from the end of Lisa's story. Her father, family, friends, and community hold on to the hope that the efforts of Please Bring Me Home will do just that. Bring Lisa and her unborn baby home, where they belong. We plead for your help to continue sharing Lisa's story through sharing this podcast. Someone out there holds the key to finish Lisa's story.
If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Lisa Reimer Mays, please contact Please Bring Me Home. They provide 2 avenues to submit an anonymous tip. Their anonymous tip line is 226-702-2728. Their website is pleasebringmehome.com, where you will find a form to submit an anonymous tip, or if you prefer, you can send them a private message via Facebook or email. Alternatively, if you are more comfortable, please don't hesitate to reach out to your local OPP detachment.
A $50,000 reward remains in place by the province of Ontario for information leading to the arrest and conviction in Lisa Reimer Mays' case.
If you enjoy our podcast and would like to support our endeavors, a 5-star rating and/or review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts would be greatly appreciated. It really helps new listeners to find us. And we wouldn't ever turn down the offer of a coffee or maybe even a glass of wine. Helps tremendously to wet our whistle while recording. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Links to our Ko-fi account, our Instagram, and Facebook page can all be found in the show notes for this episode. We've put everything into one easy link for you. Click on our Linktree link and you'll see all our social media accounts, etc. Thanks for listening. We couldn't do what we do without you.
And as always, this podcast is dedicated to the memory of Nolan Panchyshyn. We love you, Nolan.
Love you, Nolan.
Love you.
There's a face upon a billboard in a field outside our window, near a highway that we travel to our work, to our home. There's an image and description, there are facts and there are figures, and an underlying longing of a father for his child. Whoever you are, whatever you've done, whatever the reason, come forward, please come. There's nothing quite as precious as our own, and when they're missing, there'd be nothing quite as devastating, paralyzing hold. And when the situation darkens and resources are exhausted, there was one last plea to anyone before we turn away. Whoever you are, whatever you've done, whatever the reason, come forward, please come. Whatever you've done, whatever the reason, come forward, please come. There are many faces upon billboards, in fields outside our windows, near highways that we travel on, to our work and to our home. And there are images and descriptions, there are facts and there are figures, and far too many fathers longing for their child. Whoever you are, whatever you've done, whatever the reason, come forward, please come. Whatever the reason, come forward, please come.